Okay, this is the 100 series 12.6 class Prohib firearms for the August sale, premium sale. This is the Alpha lot. This is a Colt Detective Special. This one is the Hong Kong. He's got a sort of a battle finish. Royal Hong Kong Police Department. I think that's the badge number 6015 for the actual person that would have had this. And not sure if it's been refinished or not. There's wear on the grips that is not consistent with the finish of the rest of the piece. But what a neat collectible with that on it, and indexing quite nice. Mechanically, it's a great little piece if you got a 12.6 license. So remember, you got to have the 12.6 license. It's exactly what you would expect. So there's no surprises mechanically. Collectively, it's a great piece, and you've got the lanyard ring though. But you can see indexing is good. There's nothing wrong with that as far as a detective special piece would go, and exactly what you would expect, and more because of the collectability factor if you have the appropriate license. On Bravo Detective Special, in this one, more of a traditional black, dark blue finish, almost black, and very little signs of use. I mean, look at even the cylinder ring is not pronounced, and indexing is great. Lockup, exactly what you would expect. So I don't think there's a lot of use on this piece as well. Colt branded soft touch grips, a little bit of use and handling marks, but nothing to speak of. And the trigger is exactly what you would expect, in double and in single and double action. A couple little derringers. These are Rome, so they're sort of what you see is what you get. They're not a high-end piece, but they're a fun piece. This one is in 38 special, plastic grips. A little bit of handling marks on it. Generally, these don't get a lot of use. So, you know, if it looks pretty decent, chances are it didn't get much use. So, you can hear, you know, like I mentioned earlier, you can kind of tell by the sound of it that you got nice crisp mechanics in there. On the Hawes Western Derringer, 357 Magnum, so that's fun. And again, they're hard to put tags on them, so we end up tying right around it. So wooden grips on these ones. Not the best of fit on those grips, but normal, you know, as far as that goes. And let me just make sure I'm not making a fool of myself here, because for some reason that is not cycling awesomely. So it is possible that we're dealing with a bit of a mechanical issue on that one. And let me just make sure I haven't. I'm going to say that one is a little suspect, and that you should bid accordingly. The trigger does seem like, or the cocking definitely seems to be a bit jammed up. On the Echo, on the Mauser, get a bit of a shot on it. It is Nazi marked. It's nice crisp markings for serial number and so on. They're not smooth grips; those are actual checkered grips. But there's so minor checkering right from the get-go that they wear almost to the point of being smooth. And mechanically, it just feels like it's a pretty decent snug piece. That's going to slam forward. Let's try to be graceful on that. And there we go. And so a nice piece there. It feels nice and snug. And so I'm good with that one. Echo Foxtrot. This is like my very first Walther. I don't have it anymore. I actually bought it at Mill Arm back when my boys, most of you talked to on the email, Michael, when they were just born in the hospital. He and his brother were twins, and so that's why Jane called it the baby gun. And because I bought it, was the same coloring and whatnot. I ended up selling it a long time ago. Always bit. Every time I'd take somebody shooting, I'd say, make sure you don't put your thumb up there, put it down there, and they would always forget, put it up there, and get bitten across the knuckle. And I would laugh and laugh and laugh. So everything seems pretty good on this one. Again, we'll have to take the mag out and that one to slam forward. Got my glove in there. That's pretty graceful. And the magazine's got the finger grip on it, but everything feels pretty nice and snug on that one. Trigger, I mean, these are not target triggers. James Bond might be able to hit a bad guy from across the warehouse with one hand out of the holster, but most people, not so much. 100 Gulf. These ones are always a bit more worn. It's got brass. We like brass. On the 1871, this is a 22 rimfire, of course, which is why it's Prohib. And so some of our out-of-country people, they get really confused. When I say out-of-country, I predominantly mean the Americas. When they look at something like this and it's a Prohib, and they can't figure it out, this dinky little thing. It doesn't make any sense. But let's check the indexing. Oftentimes on these ones, of course, you do have issues there. I do see that it's indexing consistently each time. And, the lockup is no different than what you would expect. They're never any better than that, really. So, and the hammer drops. So, pretty much is what you see is what you get. But mechanically, it does index and lock up and so on. On the Gulf Hotel is another one, 1871. We got the string sort of tangled up in there. There's never any bluing left on these either to speak of. I say never, but almost never. But now I've got the string tangled up into there. And I don't want to have that messing around with my science. Okay, so on full cock, there we are locked. Let's see if it indexes. This one actually even feels rough when you're cocking it, and it's not indexing consistently. But nor is it seized, so it's going to take a little gunsmithing to get that one tricked up a little bit to be 100%. The previous one is definitely more reliable on the mechanics of it. So we have another one on Juliet. The tag's not properly affixed to that one. 1871 again, 22 rimfire, obviously. This one looks a lot fancier, hasn't been redone. I'm not going to speak to that just yet. It looks like that could be plated. And mechanically, indexing. Hammer dropping consistently. Again, you're not expecting miracles out of the mechanics on these pieces. When you consider how old these are, and they're still working at all, that's pretty neat. So that one mechanically seems to be working quite nicely, and it certainly looks very nice. Certainly looks very nice. So take a close look. Give us some feedback on that one, on what you think. But I would suspect that that's a replated, maybe not so much the polished brass and replated on the steel parts. Colt Detective Special on the Kilo 38 Special. Standard configuration and, a little bit of a cylinder ring, but not well worn out. I mean, there's a little either pocket or holster wear on the front. Let's listen to the mechanics. Indexing, the lockup is very snug, very nice. Indexing consistently. You look at something like that and you see the condition outwardly on the outside of it and you think, yeah, there's no way it's all going to be beat up on the inside. It's just too nice of condition to not be. So I think you could bid on with confidence on that one, on Kilo. On Mike, you have, this is an alloy frame. I can tell by the weight as soon as I pick it up. This is the Agent, dated 1958. And of course it's got the hammer guard on there, so it doesn't catch when you're pulling it out of your trench coat pocket. A little bit more wear on this one in holster or pocket type areas. But the alloy frame is very light. So it'll be 38 special only. And indexing is... It certainly doesn't see any signs of abuse. I mean, even though it's certainly been a service piece, it hasn't been sitting in forever in the glove box or whatever. Indexing is tight. Double action or single action was good there. Double action is good. Same on the other side. No weird wear. Just normal. And for something that is this kind of age and to have only that kind of wear on it is pretty impressive. So there's another one that you could do quite well with. Now we got Python in Prohib class. A little bit heartbreaking. This one's got to be nickel plated, judging by the color. And it is a 1973 date on it. You do see some fingerprints and stuff on it, so don't think too much about that. This has probably got hardly any miles on it. It just looks too almost new. The trigger is going to be exactly what you would expect from a Python. Especially they shine in the double action. From a factory trigger point, they really shine in that double action side of things. And so checkered grips, and even in the grips you can see that there's not a lot of handling on there. So this is a very, very nice representation of a 12.6 class nickel-plated Python. We have another Python from the 1989 date on it. Not that I would bet my life on the dates we've put on there. We've tried to be accurate. We are getting people correct us. They send us a little email now and again, say, hey, no, that's, and sometimes it's a transposed, 89, 98. Sometimes it's a year off. But the catalog is, we do the best we can for you. It is still just a guideline, and the onus is on you, which is why we're doing these videos. The onus is on you to decide but we don't want to mislead anybody. That's never our intention. This one does not have a lot of use either. It's clear, and again, mechanically, there's no reason to think that there's going to be anything wrong with this particular revolver. Indexing, lockup, it's all going to be fantastic. So just bid with confidence on that one. On Quebec, a little semi-automatic, a little pocket pistol here. The vest hammerless, 25 auto on this one. This is a double prohib for those that don't know. 25 caliber and the short barrel makes it a prohib twice. If you're allowed to be a prohib twice, that's like being twice as pregnant, but I guess that's possible. Feels very nice. A little bit of pitting, a little bit of wear in the use and handling areas is the term that we use. But overall, you're looking at a pretty decent piece mechanically. I'm going to even try to fire that one. You can't really tell on these ones, these little autos. They have such a minor action inside that you don't get any real satisfaction out of hearing it. And plus, we shouldn't really be mucking around. I don't have a snap cap or anything in there. On Romeo, we got another vest. Finish is turning brown gray on this one. A little bit more use on it. I can't say 100% if it's one of Lindsay's pieces, but I mean, he had obviously a penchant for the coats, and you can see the finish is worn in this one. So this one's got a little bit of miles on it, and so bid on that one accordingly. It still mechanically feels nice, but do accordingly. On the Junior, this one has not a lot of miles on it. This is in 7.22 short caliber, so a little bit more difficult to get ammunition for this one. But they almost never have any real miles on them. And if they do, it doesn't much matter. I shouldn't say, obviously anything can be worn out, but when it's only a 22 short caliber, it just doesn't get the opportunity to do much damage to anything. And I would say this one has, anything that is a blemish on it has more to do with storage than use. Because look at the grips. Those wooden grips, if they had any kind of use, if they've been sitting in a pocket, if it was actually a used piece, would be quite well worn. And these are hardly worn at all. So I think you're dealing with a little bit more storage condition than use. The next one actually has a box with it on Tango, and this is 25 as well. But look at the finish on that one. It's just never seen. It's been sitting in that box its whole life. It has not been sitting in a purse, a pocket, even out to the range a whole bunch. It's just been sitting in that box mostly, collecting dust and waiting for you to come and take it home and give it a good home. It'll need it taken apart and a good cleaning. It's got dry collection of buildup. It's just been sitting. That's box residue more than anything else inside there. This is a good, crisp example. Keep catching my gloves in there. We're going to have gloves available for you too at the viewings if you want to wear gloves, and that's less about the COVID and more about it's been pointed out that maybe a little less finger goo on all the vintage firearms might be a good thing. On the uniform, this is a Colt. This is a Colt Courier dated 1955, and again, this is an alloy frame. That's a nice light frame, and you can see that it does not have a whole bunch of miles on it because look at those grips. Again, you don't have worn, those soft checkering in those grips does get worn quite quickly. A little bit of cylinder ring, a little tiny bit of maybe holster wear. Even that, I might be imagining it. It's hardly anything there at all. Indexing is going to be solid. The lockup is going to be solid. This is a very low use piece. There is no denying it. These are a basic trigger. These are not intended. Nobody's going to brag about these triggers, but it is there, positive, and does lock up. On Victor, Detective Special, and with the box, is it serial numbered? It's serial numbered in handwriting, and again, you can tell that through the things like the cylinder ring and muzzle, you're not seeing a lot of use. This is a good everyday Detective Special. This is exactly what you would expect from the day, back when everybody was revolvers. The trigger is just exactly what you would expect. Single and double indexing and lockup is, again, what you would expect when you look at that sort of condition and you see an original box that's still available. Almost always, there's exceptions to every rule, but almost always when you have the box, you've got a little bit better piece. On whiskey, we got a Combat Cobra 357 Magnum. Shiny finish on that one. A little bit of a cylinder ring, so it certainly has had some use. So we're not adverse to rotating the cylinder, but indexing and lockup is nice and tight. This one's got adjustable rear sights, checkered wooden branded grips. Combat Cobra on the barrel there. No reason to think that that it's not going to index and work properly. Single action and double action. Indexing is good. So, what you see, if I can say bid with confidence one more time, then, then I'm going to say it there. This is a Smith & Wesson 29-2. So this is Dirty Harry's church gun, because this is a smaller one. So Prohib class on this one, 102 millimeter. And again, for those in the US, you add a couple of millimeters to that, and you're into restricted class. 3 millimeters to that, so 1/8 of an inch. Original factory checkered grips. A little bit of a cylinder ring there. Got the original box, so again, my rule still applies that you usually get a little extra condition. Very little possible holster wear in the muzzle there, but almost nothing. That little bit of a cylinder ring. So again, you're not going to expect any issue as far as indexing and lockup and so on. There's just no reason to expect an issue. And so same as on the other side. You can even see there's very little buildup of any schmutz in there. A little bit, didn't get. They're sometimes a little bit hard to clean. People get a little bit lazy. I know I'm a revolver guy, and I get a little bit laxy. So I think you can bid with confidence on that one. This one's a bit more used, but still good. Remington 51 has got the flap holster that's there underneath it, and nice branded grips on it. Lots of wear in the use and the handling areas. Again, it's a bit more of a use piece. Probably saw some sort of service in that very flap holster probably. And so, but you're still feeling a nice cycle. You got a huge grip safety on these ones. Comes with the magazine there. So, however, what you see is what you get on this one. 380 auto, and so you can get some ammo for that. It's not as hard as some to get. 100 Zulu is another one that is low use. There's no doubt about it. Smith & Wesson 61, 357 Magnum with the box, and again, my theory holds true. It's harder to tell when you got the stainless that, whether there's holster use, because maybe if it was blue, there would be a bit more use on it. But to me, that looks like a very low use piece. A little bit of cylinder ring on there, fully adjustable sight. You're not going to get a magic trigger out of these. You're going to get an expected trigger, and that's exactly what we have here. Very nice piece. Single and double action. No weird wear or anything on this side. Grips don't have any signs of wear. I mean, it's clean as a whistle inside there. Again, I don't think it's had a whole bunch of use. So that is the 100 series of the Prohibs. We got a lot more to go. So let's just shut her down and move on.